message from all the population of the importance of how this project is needed to continue in that area for the best of the people.
طبعا كل بعد
Since 2003, after Iraq was liberated from the previous occupation, since that period, Iraq never saw any stability, any kind of peace truly in that area, unfortunately. They visited them a few times in the spot, and hopefully we will come on to.
I'm Susan Arif. I'm the director of Women Empowerment Organization. It's a very important project, especially in this time, an objective for the development and integration of women in business, include many more of people, especially with survived women.
Women constitute a big part of the IDPs. Most of them are women householders and widows and breadwinners of the families. So here comes the need of the economic empowerment of women, either through a project like Incubator or through any women in business projects where we can support women so that they can stand on their own feet, and this will have direct impact on the lives of the families.
ISIS is not just a military forces against us, but more than that. ISIS have ideology against every people in the Middle East.
It's a very difficult situation for all the people. The situation inside and outside is the same difficult.
We prepared RBL strategic plan for the coming 3 years, depending on the Kurdistan region Vision 2020.
I was in March in Erbil, and I discussed briefly with your minister. The Vision 2020 is very helpful, even if it is not implemented, because we know that there is something to be done. And we can measure a gap, for example. So that's.
But in this stage, we only need your experts in capacity building.
Say a few words on this, because we have a program this year, etc. So you will be aware. I will share that with you all. We are very aware that Daesh is not only a military; it is an ideological organization, because it is a counter-culture, if you want. We understand that Kurdistan is a safe haven from refugees, but they are not a state. So they have sometimes problem for mobilizing. I will tell you what we do in primary, secondary education. The European Council wants to support Iraq, and you will see in terms of stabilization, but in terms of more general development. How to help the government to tackle the fiscal crisis. We have the feeling that sometimes in Iraq, the budget will be linked to the policies like Vision 2020,
Exactly.
and sometimes they are not really implemented. It means people are dealing with treasury.
In Iraq, UNDP has two projects in Kurdistan supporting the integration of gender issues. So in this sense, synergy is possible with key people, this initiative. And we have no mandate, obviously, to have a direct intervention. All our support is through the government, national and local government, hand by hand with the CSO, the civil society organization, the university, etc. So we don't work directly, but through them in order to strengthen the capacity and offer mechanisms to better coordinate, plan, implement and monitor local development processes.
I know there are many programs directed by UNDP. One of them is how to estimate the damage in the liberated lands in Nina province. You know, there are many lands liberated in Nina. And UNDP work on this land.
UNDP is never acting alone or on his own decision, never. Because we are supporting national and local governments and the people. There is two ways university can collaborate. One is integrating these mechanisms with local, that I was explaining, with local authorities, with civil society organizations, in order to connect the knowledge of the university with the needs of the territory. When there is a need for an assessment, an analysis, a study, UNDP it's always transparent and open, is making a call for consultancy, universities, foundations, think tanks to be able to offer their services
They are very much hoping that if you can deal directly with the local government, and not only with the local government, they have like sub-local sort of municipality committees. So it's very important for them that you have a direct relationship with the whole, pyramid structure.
When we designed this project 3 years ago, the situation in Iraq was very, very different, of course. Say thank you to Kurdistan for cooperation, for solidarity with our project for the Nineveh region. The question is, in this historical period, about the Middle East and Iraq, we want create, develop bridge or wall.
If we count on women commitment and we help them to create new initiatives, not only the effect is on for them, for their interests, but for the community. And so this is a very important lesson that we have to learn, and we want to continue to work in this way also with my colleague on development policies, human rights policies, and also cooperation policies.
Terrorism now is quite international issue, and in our area we need experience, we need stability, and if this has been achieved, we will be 40% of Nineveh has been liberated. So not all Nineveh is under Daesh occupation, and now we have about 20,000 immigrants, like families, and they are in Kurdistan or in other areas in Iraq. The issue of immigrants is not an issue of looking for funds. They have a question. And that's the question. Why did they immigrate? Why did they leave their country or their place? We have to look to the origin of this problem, why Daesh has been ever created. And we are very sure that Mosul will be soon liberated. However, the mentality of Daesh is remaining, and this is much more dangerous. Therefore, we ask Europe for their support. And they have been culturally invaded by Daesh. The women, the children, young people. Therefore, this project is very important. And we are grateful that Europe has announced that this is crimes against humanity. And now we ask that this file should be submitted to the International Court. And we don't want Al-Mosul to be another Aleppo.
Daesh has perpetrated countless atrocities along Iraq. Extremism, terror, and bigotry are incompatible with shared supreme values of democracy, freedom, solidarity, and of the promotion and defense of human rights. It is not, and never was, a war against Islam. It is a war against murderers, killers, fanatics, and totalitarians. I would like to raise up the case of Nadia Murad and the Yazidi genocide. Nadia was 19 when Daesh enacted one of its deadliest massacres in her village, Koho, near the Mount Sinjar in the northern Iraq. She watched as the men in her family were rounded up for execution and the boys taken away to IS training camps. She was brutalized, raped, and held captive by soldiers. who sold her further down the ranks the longer she remained in their nightmarish world. But Nadia is not the only case. Nadia Murad has become a spokesperson for women afflicted by IS's campaign of sexual violence. The Islamic State came with the sole aim of destroying the Yazidi identity through force, rape, recruitment of children, and destruction of all our temples. Rape was used to destroy women and girls and to ensure that they could never again lead a normal life. The involvement of women as policy shapers, educators, community members, and activists is essential to address the conditions conducive to terrorism and effectively prevent it.
I know very well how Iraq was before the wars, and also I know that the women's position at the time was much more better than it is now, much more better. So the deep roads of Daesh is the wars, and especially the invasion of 2003. Who destroyed first Fallujah? Was it Daesh? No. It was the American and the British Army that destroyed Fallujah. To my capacity as a Vice President of the Committee for Development, I will also do my best to help develop these plans.
Women in the war zone are the first victim. It's obvious that the current gender-based violence may cause a phenomenon leading to restrict women movement outside the home, limit their access to health services, discontinue their study, and prevent them from participation in public life. The displaced women may face more difficult conditions in the camps, as the camp cannot guarantee the safety and security of women and girls. The wars leave very difficult psychological traces on women that might be very hard to deal with. The Kurdistan government doesn't have the capacity to respond to all the needs and services.
And ladies in Ninawa, they have exposed to a new disrespect, which is in contradiction with the previous situation in which Ninawa was a great respect area for a lady. So 2 million persons are under embargo, and about 300,000 ladies from Mosul inside Mosul has already immigrated to Kurdistan. On a cultural level, we have a new generation of women who couldn't obtain any education or any further degrees. Therefore, we need those cultural programs.
Women involvement and representation in executive positions within the Iraqi public and the private sphere is substantially low. Kurdish women enjoy more participation in politics and socio-economic life, more gender-equal laws, and better opportunities for civil society activism than the other women in Iraq.
It is important to accompany local actors in the implementation and monitoring of this response to the crisis, and not only an immediate response to immediate needs, but also foreseeing a strategic vision of development for the coming years. We have also to foresee a more strategic vision of development and not just having humanitarian response.
After liberation, stabilization will start, and a lot of minorities or groups which are potentially antagonists will have to live together, and that's important to be prepared for this. Your project aims at empowering the women for economic matters, not only this for political as well. So this is essential. That's also essential for changing the mentalities. There are 3 challenges. One is the enrollment of the refugees, IDPs, students. The second was the need to address the Daesh ideology with the students. The third thing was the need to support the students after their graduation. This year we are focusing on stabilization through a UNDP-led trust fund and through the EU Regional Trust Fund, Mediter. We will have a special focus on public finance management. It is very essential now because the resources are limited because of the burden of the refugees, because of the fall of oil prices, and because of the cost of the war. So the government has to do better with less resources.
I'm talking in my name as a representative of Ninawa and also in the name of the population. And in this day, I tell you, we really feel that your organization, Mediterranean, has really approved their commitment to help the people there and to have this project which is in between Ninawa and Erbil to enable 100 members to have their work and projects are funded from the European Union and mainly to help women also in this area.
المستقبل يمكن بناؤه معا.
First of all, I would like to thank you, but I tell you that the future always depends. We can never predict the future, but however, we believe that the future is depending on your support, the support of the EU and the international community, and we rebuild together the future hand by hand to our population and area. And it depends how much you can give us support. We will build and rebuild the area together and build the future together.
My name is Jean Barbet. I'm working for the European Commission in the Directorate General in charge of cooperation. We have been invited by the European Parliament, and thanks to you as well, Mediter, to meet colleagues and friends from Nineveh Governorate in Iraq, from the Kurdish region of Iraq, and from the University Sian of Erbil. We're happy to support such a project because a lot of attention now is on liberating part of Iraq occupied by Islamic State, but it is important to think beyond this. The women will have a very important role in creating economic opportunities, in changing the mentalities for a more fair development amongst all Iraqis.
Policy of the United Nations in response to the crisis of Iraq and all the countries which is affected by this crisis, such as Syria, Lebanon, Jordan, is to support the local governments and the capacity of those local governments to rebuild and development. Indirectly, we support that in order to have a better development.
Today we held a crucial event here at European Parliament. For the first time since the outbreak of the crisis, local authorities from occupied Mosul and Kurdish authorities left Iraq for an official visit in the heart of Europe. That was the first official visit at European Parliament as well. I believe this conference has clearly shown the existence of another Europe that aims at building bridges in opposition to the Europe that wants to create walls. Mediter has always kept a direct line with Mosul and Iraqi local authorities, regardless of the risks to our safety, since ISIS occupation started in 2014. Our goal is to continue cooperation between the best Europe, the Mediterranean and the Middle East. The only prospect and alternative to the acts of violence is the creation of a solid and fair relationship between the parties, made of true cooperation and mutual respect, that allow for an exchange of good practices and active exchanges between different cultures and people. This is the only way to defeat fundamentalist views and extremism.